Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, heard Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on PSA.com and the PSA Facebook page. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by PSA and the National Sports Collectors Convention. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, visit sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now, your hosts, Tom Zappala and Rico Petrocelli.
Rico.
Hey, hello there.
You made it home?
No, I'm still, I'm in the car now, so we're still driving. Of course,
So
I made it home.
How long did it take you to get home?
3 days.
3 days?
Yeah, 600 miles the first day, 500 the second, and whatever else it was. And that's it. Now
I'm going to ask you one personal question, and I promise.
I will do it. You know, I answer anything, any question.
All right. Did Louie the dog make it home alive?
Well, not because of me, but because I wanted to dump him 3 times. Where was it? South Carolina. I tried to open the window, but my wife punched me in the mouth, so I went out. Second time was North Carolina. North Carolina had him half out the window, but she closed the window, and the dog was halfway outside.
And it reminds me of that movie, Family Vacation. When they had the dog in the back of the car, and then they had the leash, and then he drove 500 miles and forgot the dog, and it was just a leash. Anyway, name of the show is the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappala, Rico Petra. Really, Rico has his phone out because we're bringing JP Cohen in from Memory Lane. JP is a dear friend of the show, and Rico forgot to print out his portion of the questions to JP. So as a result, he's gonna look at his phone instead of committing them to memory like he probably should have done.
Can I trust him with keeping a secret? You see
ahead.
what I mean? You come out with everything personal. Go ahead.
No, forget it. All right, so before we bring JP in, our headlines brought to us by our good friend Rich Miller and the great staff at Sports Collectors Daily. I think JP he'll have a little comment about this. The All-Star Cafe Wagner sells for a record $3.1 million. A T206 Honus Wagner car that was once owned by Charlie Sheen, who, by the way, has some issues, wound up stolen from the New York City restaurant and had it on display in an unlocked case, sold for $3,136,500 at the auction last Thursday night. PSA 1 poor copy had consigned to Mile High Card Company and Brian Drent. It was being offered for the first time since 2013, Rico, when it sold for $402,900. According to the auction house, though, the Oklahoma resident who consigned the card has designated proceeds for the Boys and Girls Club. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. You can read the rest of the story by going to sportscollectorsdaily.com. Sports Collectors Daily provides it all of the information you need for the hobby. All right, I'm really excited because typically we bring in Tomasulo. And I said, you know something? We have to bring in the main honcho of Memory Lane Auctions because he's tough to get a hold of. We get him in very, very seldom. Our good friend JP Cohen, president of Memory Lane. How are you, JP?
Hey, JP.
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for the introduction.
No, you look great. Hey, first of all, congratulations, man. Fatherhood. Talk to me.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it again, and I got a beautiful, healthy little boy. He's been out 3 months, and very grateful, very blessed, having a lot of amazing memories already. But really, really, really sweet to have a new addition to the family.
You know, JP, I want to get right into it because you've got 2 blockbuster auctions on the horizon, and we talked about this yesterday. Tell us about, before we talk about the Manny Gordon auction, tell us about Manny Gordon.
Gosh, he was such a wonderful guy. I mean, putting aside he was, one of the best collectors that most dealers have, dealt with. I mean, if you ask majority of the longtime dealers in the hobby, most of them would put Manny on the top of the list as one of the nicest, passionate collectors in the hobby. But he was more than that to us, to me. He was a dear friend, very caring, very loving. Got to know him over the years on a personal level. Many visits to New York would be always including Manny in a dinner or a play or some type of gathering. Every national, for the most part, Manny was there. He brought his sons. And he, more than just looking for additions to his collection, he just loved the people that were in our hobby, the dealers, the other collectors, and networking and making friends. And he was just such a wonderful man, truly missed by many. I mean, it's been over 2 years now, or getting close to the 2 years since he passed. And sadly, he was in that beginning phase of the COVID, and he passed to COVID. And so it was a very big shocker for all of us. And, just a wonderful guy. I mean, loved his family, loved life, and well respected.
One thing that I noticed, and by the way, I'm going to publicly say this, your Manny Gordon catalog, two things. Number one, the accolades, the quotes, endorsements by, I don't know, 15 or 20 different people in the hobby about Manny. It was very impressive. Everyone from Joe Orlando to Brian Drent and everything in between. Everybody must, thought the world of this guy. I never had the pleasure of meeting him, but I was obviously aware of Manny. But the second thing is, I said this to you yesterday, and I'm gonna throw it out there. Ellen and I, people have asked Ellen and I over the years to write a book on the 33 Gaudi set. And we just never have had the time to do that because of the book projects that we've been involved in. You guys have already written that book, because I'll tell you right now that you guys should really consider converting that to a coffee table style book regarding the 33 Gaudi set, because Joe Thomasula, I don't know if Joe did all the writing for that, but whoever did all of the writing, wrote the narratives for both the card and the background of the player, did a spectacular job. You've got the card images there. That is a book on the complete 33 Gaudi set. You guys did a great job with that.
Listen, I agree. It made it very easy. Of course, Joe T's wonderful in his writing, and has been with the company for a very long time. In fact, most of the higher end items that we put to auction, always, Joe takes it upon himself to be the writer on it, and we love the writing he does. But in regards to the Gaudi collection, what made it so smooth for us to put together such an amazing book, it was the quality of the cards. As we all know, not all 8s, not all 9s, not all 7s, whatever the grade is, are created equal. Manny had an eye. If you really take the time when you're looking at that catalog, and just look at the top 10 cards, because we have a top 10 card section in Manny's catalog. They're all amazing 8s. There's a couple of 9s in there. So when you look at it, you'll realize that most of those cards, if not all of them, are on the top echelon of the grade that it is. I mean, right. It's well, respected. And going back in time, Manny back in Philadelphia at the all the different shows. It was King of Prussia and Fort Washington. I remember him walking around. I remember him getting the yellow Ruth and being so proud that he upgraded his yellow Ruth to this yellow Ruth. He was always trying, when I say upgrade, not upgrading the grade, I mean upgrading the card. So if he had an 8 and he saw a better 8, it was never a shock that Manny would upgrade to have a better presentation of the card. So that's represented in this catalog. And that's where I encourage people that are interested in not bidding. I mean, bidding's great. And of course, I'm sure people will be bidding like crazy on this stuff, but just to respect what Manny built and how amazing that Gaudi collection is, which goes to what you guys are given us props for, that the book's there. I mean, if you wanted to pick out the best Gowdy cards to create a Gowdy book, it's there.
It is. So, everything is done.
So I love that idea. I love you brought that up today, because it's definitely something we should consider.
Absolutely.
Because it's great for the hobby. And if you really think about how special an auction just on Gowdy's alone, go back in time. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and I know you've been around a long time. There hasn't been a auction of this magnitude as far as one set in condition for as long as I can remember. Okay, so this is history. So even creating that book based on around the fact that this set was auctioned is something special. People will be talking about this collection of Gowdy's for years. I could see us 10 years from now going, hey, you remember the Manny Gordon Gowdy collection? And that's what you have. And there's truly some amazing cards in there. And I definitely encourage people just to enjoy Thomas Ulla's writing, enjoy the cards, and definitely take a look, like you said, at the tribute page of how special Manny was to the industry and to people.
Rico?
Yeah, well, speaking of Gowdy, what about the Ruth Gowdys? Is it still keeping its value, or is it kind of losing some steam here?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Rico, everything's keeping its value lately. It's amazing. It's just to watch our industry and what's happened in the last month, let alone the last couple of years, is tremendous. You know, the Gowdy Ruths, to me, those will always be sought after cards. Those are kind of like staples in the hobby. That, the Mickey Mantle 52, the Wagner card. And no matter, as long as, you know, you buy rarities and high grade, you're always going to do well. I don't care who the player of the card is, because there's always going to be someone else that wants it. You know, it's supply and demand. But in regards to the Ruths, yeah, they're holding their value. They're probably one of the most sought after players to collect. And he's been gone, what, 75 years almost. You know, it's truly amazing that he's still a household name. He's still highly collected as the main force in this hobby. So I would think that things won't change. Especially Gowdy Ruths are probably the most popular cards. So I definitely think in time, those are cards that if someone can afford to own one in any grade, grab one, put it away, because I don't think you could ever go wrong with owning a 33 Gowdy Ruth.
Could I just
JP, go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Well, no, just that Wagner card, was that the original, the top one, or is that a different one?
No. The Wagner card that I talked about in the headline was only a PSA 1, but okay. it has a pretty interesting history, because it belonged to Charlie Sheen, the actor, right. And Charlie loaned it to the
All-Star
Cafe in New York City. Mm-hmm. They stole it. One of the waiters stole it and replaced it with a reprint, and they wound up solving the case, arresting the guy. So the card took on a kind of a notoriety of its own. So congratulations to Brian. Yeah. JP, I want to touch upon something we've talked about in the past, you and I, and actually I've talked about this topic with a lot of your competitors, and you guys all are like one fraternity. You're a vintage guy. I'm a vintage guy. You know, a lot of the auction houses that we deal with are vintage auction houses. There's an influx now of modern and ultra modern cards, as we all know. And you guys, especially you guys, I mean, when this all happened 2.5 years ago, it was almost like a baptism under fire for you guys, because you really had to get up to snuff on, you know, the ultra modern basketball cards, baseball cards, football cards. Is there a place for both components, ultra modern, well, for the three components, modern, ultra modern, and vintage, to be married and just to coexist?
I think in time there could be. I think right now we're just trying to figure it out, kind of navigate. It's all new landscape in this hobby. A lot of new things happening, a lot of new companies, new ways of conducting business in the hobby, new ways of collecting. You know, the modern market is completely taken us by storm. I mean, it's the numbers that are being received for some of these cards are just mind-boggling. I mean, especially from a guy like myself and probably someone like you that just is used to the vintage market. However, I'm learning every day. You know, I'm not discounting it. I think what's happening here is this younger generation maybe could relate a little more to a living player or someone that's more fresh in their career. Those cards, I think the manufacturers did an amazing job. You know, for many years, the vintage market was all driven by population and scarcity. And we've always done well with the population of cards in the vintage arena. Whereas now these manufacturers have created these one of ones, one of 25.
Manufactured rarities.
And it's being accepted and it's being embraced. And what's happening here is I think the younger collector, and I'll touch on that word collector in a minute, is relating to those guys. They feel a little bit connected, you know, and that's what collecting is all about. There's
no problem with that.
Some way of connecting yourself or having a way that you embrace what it is, your favorite player, your grandfather's favorite player, you know, your favorite teams, things like that. So, but the word collector, you know, that's where I, at this point in the hobby, I'm sitting back kind of watching what's going on, taking it all in, trying to learn, trying to adapt where we feel we need to as a company to grow and not just discount what's going on, pay attention. And I'm finding that my assessment of what's happening here is there's more of a drive or an interest in the investment side or the money side of it. Whereas for the last 22 years, for the most part, the majority of our demographic of a collector has been a guy that doesn't care about the money. The money, fortunately, followed the collecting. You know, the first priority was the drive to collect, to enjoy it. Had nothing to really do about money and what it's worth. I could tell you a zillion times how many times I might sell you a card and I say, hey, I'll sell you this Ty Cobb card for $100. And 3 weeks later, I said, hey, I got a guy that wants that Ty Cobb I sold you a few weeks ago. He'll give you 5 times your money and you're just not interested. And that's the difference I see today in the newer collector is they're more interested in how much money they make and can I flip it? Can I make money? Can I turn it?
And you know something, Rico, you've kind of taken that position over the discussions that we've had regarding that. You're kind of, I'm on the fence about that, Rico, but you've always been kind of like, you don't have a problem with that. If you're going to buy a card, you're an investor, you're a young kid, you're going to buy that Tatis card and flip it and make a few bucks. You don't have a problem with that, Rico, right?
It's just like you guys are like the old timers who talk baseball. It was great then. Times are changing. First of all, from a marketing standpoint, if you want the industry to grow, you're going to have to go along somewhat, at least, because there'll always be vintage, right? I mean, people who really love but to expand the industry. This is what some of the collectors are looking for. Money. People need money now. Okay, but there's still going to be a certain amount of people who, you know, they love their favorite people. But as far as I'm thinking marketing, as far as the industry is concerned, whether you like it or not, you're almost going to have to, I think, push for your own company to grow. You know, to if that's what they want. They want the guys that are playing today. Okay, you know, this is what the customer
you're making
wants.
A damn good point.
Well, thank you.
No, you are. I mean, JP. After the break, we're going to get into the auction part of what you're going to be doing. But Rico's making a very good point. From your perspective, have you brought in some of those, I'm gonna call them millennials. Have you brought in a couple of millennials on the payroll to not just teach you that, but guys that are experts in that particular field?
We haven't fully brought someone specifically for that in. There is a couple of guys within the company that have enough knowledge to grow and to build on. Back to Rico says, yes, you have to adapt. That's called business. It's called you have to change with the times. I guess the point I was making is it's just a different collector.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
The collector that is the vintage collector, and maybe I'm going to kind of circle back to how this all started. What you're saying is the vintage collector is more interested in the gratification of knowing he owns that item.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Whereas the new collector, for the most part, is more interested in the value of the item.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's just a different way of collecting. There's nothing wrong with either way.
No,
it's
I
just
understand.
a different mindset. It's a different, like I said, demographic of what a collector is in today's market, as far as the more modern stuff. Whereas what I would describe a vintage collector.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. All right, listen, we're going to take a break. We are chatting with JP Cohen from Memory Lane Auctions. We come back, JP, after the On Deck with Rico segment. We want to get into the Manny auction, and then you have a blockbuster auction coming up right after that. Hang in there, and we will be, by the way, Jared Kavile from Pristine is going to join us for a few minutes towards the end of the show. Jared asked if he could come on, and we're looking forward to chatting with him. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auction and Collectibles Company. If you're looking to maximize your return on your sports cards and collectibles, look no further. We at Memory Lane Auction House offer you several options to achieve top dollar for your collectibles. Whether you're looking to auction or sell privately, we're the #1 choice with over 17 years in the hobby. Nobody will work harder to achieve your goals. Just call us today at 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE. Or visit us on the web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Go with the best. Go with Memory Lane.
For more than 30 years, Robert Edward Auctions has been the industry leader when it comes to helping you realize the most money for your baseball cards and sports memorabilia. In addition to their unparalleled reputation for honesty and integrity, they reach the largest number of bidders in the business and offer lower seller's fees, as well as generous cash advances up front on your valuable material. Contact them today at 908-226-9900. That's 908-226-9900 or at robertedwardauction.com.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Kavile and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
Now on deck with Rico Petrocelli. Hi, my name is Chloe. Time for On Deck with Rico Petrocelli.
You know something? Someday you're gonna get it right. That's a recording. They're not live. You can't say hi to them because they're not going to say hi back to you.
Well, I was going to say, she's her grandfather's here, as you know, Dave.
Yes.
And he's very proud of her. If we keep doing the show, she's going to be 25 years old. She's going to hear her voice. Is that me?
All right, listen, it is time. It's time for our segment called On Deck with Rico, brought to us by our good friend Brian Dwyer and the great staff at REA Auctions. Don't forget to get your bid in by going to robertedwardauctions.com. That's Robert Edward Auctions for extraordinary results and extraordinary service. Hey, just check out this giveaway week. We have a couple of more of these Harry Hooper books.
Nice.
These are given to us. We're going to give one away now, and then one when we do the giveaway in the Staten Island Joe Marino bag. This is a really cool book. Harry Hooper was a hell of a ball player. Rico and Harry used to room together, so it's all good.
I like this name, Hooper, in Boston.
This week's question was submitted by Tom Hamick.
Okay.
Rico,
yeah.
What was the worst injury that you had in the majors, and how much of an impact did it have on you?
Well, let's see. I had an elbow operation. That was I was out for a little while there, but I'll tell you the most painful one now. Don't laugh. Don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of me. I had a cyst in my rear end.
Did you really?
I'm serious. I had to sit on the bench on a pillow. So you laugh. You see? I know you were going to laugh. That's the truth.
I was laughing at a joke.
That's the truth. It was abscess. You don't have to call it. The doctors thought I was full of baloney. Get out there and play. So I was running like, my legs like this. It was killing me. Come back. Finally, they took me to the hospital. They check you out, and they found out it was abscess. And the doctor was there, of course, and he says he apologized. He's really sorry. I didn't think you had, anything real serious.
How long were you out for?
Oh, for a week or so. Oh, they clean.
So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
You couldn't slide. You stole a base. How the hell were you going to slide?
What'd you say? Stolen what? So I didn't have the steel sign, so it didn't matter. No, but getting a ground ball. I'm telling you, it was the worst pain I've ever had in my life.
But what about, didn't you have an inner ear infection that really screwed you up too?
Well, I got hit with a ball, and I had, that was kind of the beginning and the end of my career. Okay, that was probably the most serious, but the most painful, oh, man.
Was the cyst.
The cyst. That's it.
Well, congratulations, Tommy Hamick. We will get that book out to you. All right, let's get back to JP. JP, let's talk about, give us a little overview of the Manny auction and then the auction following that.
So in conjunction with the Manny auction is a catalog in itself. We did a special tribute catalog just for his Gaudi collection. And that's the first, I think, 320 lots of the auction. And then the second catalog, which is being mailed at the same time, and the auction is being conducted at the same time. So it's all really one auction. It's just separated by two catalogs, one designated for the Gaudis and the second one designated for our normal springtime auction is another 510 pages, or I'm sorry, a total of 510 pages. So it's roughly about a 400-page auction catalog. So this, between both catalogs, this is going to be our largest auction ever in the history of our company. So we're real proud of that. The market's been very strong, as we all are witnessing. So we're expecting a lot of records and amazing things to come out of this auction May 21st. So the Manny collection is spectacular. Like I was saying earlier, it's something that will be talked about for many years to come. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to see one high grade, iconic set being auctioned off card by card. So we're real excited about that, and we're excited about celebrating Manny's collection and what he did. So that's
very
important.
That's great.
And then our second catalog leads off with a one-of-a-kind unopened 1948 leaf pack with multi-cards, short print, and it's graded by PSA and 8. So that's just mind-boggling, but that it's survived all this years.
I was going to say that. How do you come up with this stuff?
Well, read the write-up on it when you get the catalog, but just a little quick history. Mr. Mint, as we all know, was privy to a lot of amazing finds. So there was a find, I think it was in the early 90s, maybe late 80s, of a group of these packs. Not many, a group. And if some of the old timers remember the Copeland collection, he was a sports equipment company, like the Dick's Sporting Goods kind of thing. He owned a bunch of these packs that he bought from Mr. Mint's find, and he opened most of them, and only a few of them survived, and this is one of them. And PSA, like I said, graded it an 8 recently, and we're auctioning it off. So real exciting.
What's the bidding going to start off at something like that, JP?
I don't recall what we put, but maybe it was 10 grand, 15 grand. I expect it to go north of 100. Only time will tell. It's spectacular. So we're real excited about that. And on top of that, we're breaking up a few amazing sets from a 54 Bowman, the number 154 Bowman set, to a 58 top set, high grade 9s and 10s, as well as we're doing a special couple of sections on Mantle, because we have such a array of Mantle items and cards. And we're also doing the Jackie Robinson section, which has most of the Jackie Robinson cards being offered off in this auction. So
very cool.
That's just a little bit. There's so much to this auction. And like I said, it's our largest ever. So real excited, but most importantly, just excited to celebrate Manny and his collection. And I'm sure he'll be very proud to see the presentation, as well as the results when this is over, from up above.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rico?
Well, I wanted to ask you about fractional buying. What's your thoughts on that?
That's a damn good question, Rick.
Yeah, I know it. I was up all night trying to figure that
I
one.
tell you what, I've been salivating, waiting for your take on fractional buying, because it's all new to me. It's all new to Rico. I've learned a lot in the last 2 weeks, obviously because of Joe and what it's all about. What are your thoughts on fractional buying?
It's intriguing. At first I kind of was like, wow, because I'm an old collector. I didn't really embrace it. The more time goes on, the more I watch it. I'm kind of one of those that's kind of sitting on the fence, checking it out and seeing what's going on. The more I think it's something that is a viable business, a viable part of the hobby. I think it's starting to get legs and starting to get a lot of attention. I know one of the companies just brought Joe Orlando on. I think that's an amazing
acquisition
or
hire
partnership and bringing them into the fold. But just in general, I I think it's good. I think it allows people to be part of, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, this younger generation that can relate to the excitement of buying and selling and the valuations. It's all new. You got to change, like Rico says. You got to adjust. You got to give them what you want.
Well, not only that. I mean, Rico, again, you made a good point at the very beginning. We've talked about fractional buying in the over the last month, but there's a segment of collectors. The majority of collectors, they can't own that 33 Gaudy Babe Ruth card signed or that Eddie Plank T206. So, for the average hobbyist, I think it's a good thing because they can make an invest what they can afford, and they own a little piece of history. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, I do believe the majority of the participants that I could see are more interested in the investment side of it. But
right.
The neat thing about it, it's not like you're buying an Apple stock or something. You're actually, like you said, you can say, I own a piece of the Honus Wagner card or whatever, the Babe Ruth ball or whatever it is. So, the more like I said, time goes on, the more I see it's kind of a neat thing. I do feel though, and I'm just an outsider, these guys like the Joe Orlando and the guys that are running these companies, they're much smarter than I am, but I definitely think that the real items that will really be successful in that business model or that format are the rare ones. The stuff that you rarely see come up and get traded. The unique pieces, the one of a kinds, the cards that rarely come up in auction once every 5 years.
So we're talking. I mean, that's more on the vintage side too, JP, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and well, from that standpoint, yes, I think the vintage is really where I'm focusing on when I think about this stuff. Is that I think that for the shares to increase in value, there has to be a demand, for that item. And if you're just going to break up let's just say a 52 mantle in a 3 or a 4 or 5, and they're in every auction, with all due respect, because
that's no good.
It doesn't get enough excitement for that, what I call the demographic of the guy more than likely that are buying these shares.
Right.
Because
good point.
There's not enough growth, or possible growth. I mean, there's no guarantees anything goes up, but when you have something extremely rare, I always use waterfront property. Why does waterfront property always go up, no matter what? Because it's rare and the supply is limited and the demand is always so high. And that's the same thing in collectibles. And I'm sure it's the same thing in anything rare that you could buy. So I think that, back to what Rico's asking me, I think that's an amazing business model that could continue to thrive and grow over time. I would just think about whoever's, at the heads of these things, that maybe focus more on the true, real, scarce rarities, because I think that's where you'll get a lot of traction, a lot of interest, and a lot of growth.
Yeah.
Well, Rico, interestingly enough, I was able to get my hands on the needle that the doctor used to lance your cyst, and we're going to submit that and sell shares.
See what I mean? Yeah, that's it. Okay. What let me ask you.
Sell out quick.
Excuse me. Let me ask you, do you think Wall Street, meaning the brokers, could have any part in this, and would it be advantageous to the auction
great
house?
Question. Petrocelli with two back-to-back great questions.
Well, you think it's a great question. Maybe other people think it's not a great question.
May I add to your question?
Oh, you always do. Hey, he steals my questions. Dave. Hey, Dave and Christine, they both. Go ahead.
All right, but JP, he's asking a phenomenal question, but I want to add to that.
Okay.
Let's take a Wall Street guy, a financial advisor, okay? Can a financial advisor / Wall Street guy get involved and become almost like a stockbroker to someone who buys stocks? So in other words, Joe Smith, he gets licensed and he advises you. He'll say, "Hey, look at X company's coming up with a Rico Petrocelli rookie game used shirt that's worth $1 million. You should consider investing in this." You think that's all going to kind of come together and blend, like Rico's asking, just Wall Street with fractional buying?
Well, I think that's kind of seems to be the direction they're heading. If you kind of look at what's transpired so far, it seems like that is the direction, is hoping to get people that will buy shares and trade them and expand their portfolio from an investment standpoint. Answer the question, do I think? I mean, anything's possible. It's hard to believe that, fast forward 10 years from now that, you'll be looking at, all the stocks on the stock market, and then you'll also see a column for high-end collectibles. I mean, listen, anything's possible. Everything's changing. It all is driven by the interests and the new core of collectors or investors that are coming in and what they perceive as value. I do, also watch, some of the bigger companies like the Collectors Universe, the PSA. They seem to really be pushing the value of collectibles. And so it's very possible, in the future that we'll see some type of a platform that involves stockbrokers or investment. I know that there's hedge funds that are starting to pay attention to adding collectibles to their portfolio. So to answer your question, Rico, I do see that as a possibility. It's mind-boggling to me, but as time goes on here,
who knows, right?
And I keep an open mind. I start to embrace some of this stuff a little bit and understand it. I'm not saying Memory Lane's going to all of a sudden be, involved in the stock market of collectibles, but I definitely invite, new areas of the hobby, when it's positive and represents the hobby in the right light. Sure.
Very cool. Very cool. We are chatting with JP Cohen from Memory Lane. JP, I'm not going to ask you about NFTs because I don't know a lot about them. I know that you guys, it's a baptism under fire. The whole concept still, I can't wrap my arms around it. I'm being honest. Rico, do you even know what an NFT is? And it's not a football league either.
Oh, tennis, I thought. The new Foundation Tennis League. No. Boy, and it's changing. You mentioned it's changed fast.
Oh, God.
I mean, the last year or so.
Exactly.
Holy jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many, Rico, 3 years ago, if you and I talked about and said, hey, this is what this hobby is going to be like 3 years from now, you would have said, you're nuts. Yeah. Like you're absolutely nuts. Hey, what's hot and what's not right now, JP? If you look at the whole spectrum, basketball, obviously modern and ultra modern basketball seems to be at the top of the heap right now. But overall, in your assessment of what's hot and what's not right now.
Well, I mean, the basketball market has been hot for a while now. From the modern to, of course, the vintage, which we're more familiar with. Hey,
by the way, you see that, right?
I like it.
This has been my go-to. And Rico, guess what, Rico? Mm-hmm. JP sent these to me, and I have yours here in Florida. And I haven't given it to you yet because he sent it at Christmas and I didn't see you, but I have yours waiting.
That could be a collectible. If you keep it any longer, you might be able to put it on eBay and get it.
That's right.
You didn't give it to Ellen, did you?
No, Ellen has one. Ellen has one. Okay. But go ahead. I'm sorry, JP. I digress.
No, listen, the basketball, the whole industry as a whole is hot. I mean, it's just, I can't tell you anything that's doing really bad. Every auction that we have and even some of our competitors have, it seems to be another record, another special level of valuation that's created. You were mentioning the Wagner card, one. God, I remember when I could get those things for under $100,000. I mean, the market is just tremendous. And I think it's just driven by, the new core of collectors out there. And I think the older collectors are still holding their stuff. They don't want the money. So, if they don't sell, then the supply is very limited. But to answer your question, I think that real high-end, rare, one-of-a-kind cards are always great. That goes with even the modern cards, when they're number 1 of 1 or special, and then also goes for the vintage. And that's what I think is hot right now. But there's other areas besides cards that have been amazingly doing well, like, for instance, photography, type 1 photos. That whole market, since PSA is now pretty much putting the photos in slabs, has created a tremendous interest and a tremendous amount of growth. And the supply is very limited in that part of the hobby. And the unopened part of the hobby has also done real well. These unopened packs and boxes. Steve Hart is, the main authenticator for that stuff, and he wraps these boxes from the 70s and the 80s and even more modern, and people are paying record prices for these unopened boxes. So all areas of the hobby are doing real well, but it's nice to see outside of baseball, other parts of the hobby doing well, like basketball. Even football is doing tremendous lately also. So
good to know. To know.
Yeah.
Your website address?
It's memorylaneinc.com.
Go on to the Memory Lane site. You can get a taste for their catalog online. It's a magnificent Manny Gordon catalog. And we're going to keep the pressure on JP to get that converted into a nice hard cover coffee table book, so that you guys don't bother Ellen and I anymore to write the book. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
We definitely will keep this idea in mind and see if we can put something together.
All right, JP, we love you guys.
Hey,
you guys have been
great.
You've been a great support for the Great American Collectibles Show, as well as ATS Communications over the years. You've been a real big support to Ellen and I and John Mallory on our the books and all of that. So with that being said, man, we love you, and say hi to the gang.
Yep.
Hey, love you guys too. Thanks
care.
for all your support too. We really appreciate it, and look forward to being on the show next time.
Oh,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
JP Cohen from Memory Lane Auctions. We're going to take a quick break, and Jared Kavile from Pristine is going to join us for a few minutes. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. This is Rico Petrocelli. If you want to own a piece of sports history at an affordable price, take a look at the magnificent highest resolution prints of famed artist James Ferrantino. Check out the link here on the screen, and you'll be amazed at renderings of some of the greats like Clemente, Ruth, Brady, Jordan, and some of the greatest athletes to ever grace the sports landscape. The very affordable limited editions capture every shade of the original work. And yes, they're individually signed by James. Prices for these art gems range between $200 and $400 and will look spectacular in your office or collectibles room. Typically, a James original sells for 5 figures, but you can purchase one of his affordable reproductions now and cherish it forever. Go to jamesferrantino.com/store and purchase your personal work of art. James Ferrantino, in our opinion, is the greatest sports artist on the planet.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectibles Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auction and Collectibles Company. If you're looking to maximize your return on your sports cards and collectibles, look no further. We at Memory Lane Auction House offer you several options to achieve top dollar for your collectibles. Whether you're looking to auction or sell privately, we're the #1 choice with over 17 years in the hobby. Nobody will work harder to achieve your goals. Just call us today at 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE. Or visit us on the web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Go with the best. Go with Memory Lane.
With so many fakes out there, it's hard to figure out if the sneakers you want are real. But when you buy eligible sneakers on eBay, you can be confident they're genuine because every pair goes through a meticulous authentication process. Introducing eBay Authenticity Guarantee. First, the sneakers you've purchased are inspected by a team of professional authenticators who carefully examine the shoes, including color, pattern, logos, and materials. Then they're measured and compared to the eBay listing to make sure they match. Even the laces, accessories, and box are checked. Once your sneakers are verified, they receive an authenticity tag, and every tag is NFC enabled so you can see the detailed specs. eBay Authenticity Guarantee. No fakes, no fraud, no doubt.
eBay is the place to go for all of your memorabilia, sports or non-sports cards, autographs, and much more. Whether it's a gift for that special someone or you want to just add to your collection, eBay's huge marketplace should be your first stop. And if you sell, now's the time to flip your cards and get some extra cash. I shop on eBay all the time. Really, that's eBay, connecting buyers and sellers globally. Oh, you had the cough right in between in my thing, right?
I couldn't. There was some peanuts stuck in my throat.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, right.
Hey, listen, before we bring Jared in, let's talk about our good friend Charlie Perino, Rico,
All right.
and the gang at JRI Cards.
Well, if you want to have an absolute blast at obtaining some great modern and vintage cards, you got to check out JRI Cards. Our paisan, Charlie, the Iron Ripper Perino, along with Money Marco, Dollar Girls, and the JRI gang, give you the chance, they do give you the chance to participate in opening a graded, unopened, and sealed fresh wax or cello pack of your favorite sports or non-sport. Who knows? You may wind up with a Mantle, Jordan, Gretzky, or even a Brady.
Or a Petrocelli.
Yeah, right.
Or a Petrocelli. You know something, Rico? It's easy. You buy in, Charlie opens the pack. and you get a pack of fresh cards. And that's simple. As a matter of fact, if you pull that special jewel, the guys at JRI Cards will even have it graded for you on the house. Featured in the LA Times, ESPN, and USA Radio, JRI is the hottest card pulling show on the internet. Charlie and his staff make it fun, entertaining, and enjoyable. We've seen that. With his collection of hats, sound effects, and yes, you may even see him wearing a leather helmet from Rico's days playing for Newt Rockney. You'll love it. And let's not forget that JRI donates a part of their proceeds to various charities. So check out their charity breaks page. That's JRI Cards. Check out their exclusive breaks and events that everyone is talking about. For a great hobby experience, go to jricards.com. All right, let's bring in another friend of ours who's actually talking about charitable work. Him and his staff, they do an awful lot for different charities. Our good friend Jared Kavile from Pristine Auctions. Welcome, Jared.
Hey, Jared.
Hey, what's
How
up,
you
guys?
guys doing? What's going on? How
Very
you been?
good. Hey, very good.
You know, like everybody else, you guys you're going great gangbusters. How the hell do you keep up with it?
That's a good question. It takes a big team. Takes a big, good, focused team. We've got over 150 members of our team here now, so that's how we do it. You know, it's big volume, and we pump it out pretty quick. So we're always working on efficiencies. You know, making things a little more efficient as we go. So,
Jared, can you? I know you're unique because you conduct not just one vintage auction. You guys have a whole series of different genres of auctions. That's how can you tell us about some of them and how they work?
yeah, you know, it's funny because when I'm asked that, it's almost hard for me to tell you all of our different auctions. The easiest thing to tell you, and the reason why we do it this way, is every day there are auctions ending on our site, usually two. There's our daily auction, which is always pumped full of, usually like today, I think it's about 1,300 lots. There's no reserves ever in there. We also have, actually there's three, because we have our 10-minute auction. It's on a schedule every day. That one's a lot of fun. It's only live for 10 minutes, no reserves, no extended bidding. So that's rapid fire. And then we have, that one's a ton of fun. And then we have specialty auctions all the time. So, for example, Thursdays, we have what we call our feature auction. There's never reserves there. This one that's going right now is our Masters auction, just in honor of the Masters happening right now. So it's always themed. It's a lot of fun because it changes every Thursday. In fact, I usually don't even know what's popping up. So it's fun for me to check the site Wednesday night or Thursday night when the current one ends and see what's popping up. But that's the easiest way to tell you is we have something for everybody, for every budget. And there's something ending, multiple auctions ending every single day. So there's not that big waiting period to get what you want.
That's exciting. Oh, I just want to comment on it. It's really exciting because each day there's something new, as you said, and it's kind of fun to get up, you know, and find out what's happening there. So,
well, you know what? Like you used the word rapid fire. You know, sometimes you go to a standard auction that's going to last 2 weeks or 10 days, and you put a bid in and you wait. This is kind of instant gratification, Jared. Correct?
Yeah. It's the drive-through mentality. You know, that's always been something that I've liked to cater our business to, because you know, as a collector myself, participating in a lot of other auctions, and I still do today. The waiting period is the most frustrating part, especially when you wait and get your bid in and wait and then get outbid at the last minute. It's super frustrating. So, you know, we just want to always have something available for everybody at any given time.
You know, the other thing is, you know, it's not just sports. I mean, you have non-sports, you have jewelry, you have musical instruments. I mean, you have like a little of everything, correct?
We do. Yeah. So, you know, our bread and butter has always been autographed sports memorabilia. Sure. And then sports cards, of course, has had a big resurgence. So that part of our website has grown pretty significantly. So every Sunday we have a no reserve sports card weekly auction that's dedicated to sports cards that's ending. So that's been growing a lot. So, you know, sports cards, autograph memorabilia are definitely our bread and butter. That's what we have the most of, but we do dabble a little bit with coins, with art. You know, it naturally, collectibles as an umbrella naturally goes into some of those areas. Yeah.
You know, we had JP from Memory Lane on earlier. Are you into the NFT stuff yet? Are you guys getting into that?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest questions we get all the time. And we're having some conversations. I think that our marketplace would be fantastic for it. I think like everybody, I still don't fully grasp it, but I'm getting there. So
I'm having such a hard time wrapping my arms around it, man.
Yeah, it's starting to make more and more sense to me, especially when my son is playing Fortnite and paying for skins. And, I think that generation especially gets it. So I think as that generation, starts to become collectors, have some disposable income, NFTs are probably going to take off even more so. Not saying there isn't a market now, because obviously there is. You see it everywhere. But yes, so yeah, we're dabbling with it. We're getting there for sure.
Listen, before we let you go, tell us about your charitable work. You guys do great stuff.
Yeah, one thing we do that's actually pretty exciting is we have what's called a give back auction. We have a couple planned, but I can't talk about them quite yet. But we have some really fun ones coming up. So those will happen this year. We do at least 2 per year. That's a weekly auction where about 10% of the entire proceeds goes to a charitable to a charity. So we're teaming up with a musician and an athlete, and you'll definitely keep an eye out for those. Those are a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah, in the past we've done several other similar charitable givings for the Suns charities, for the Arizona Cardinals charities, since we're here in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's one thing we do. We also there's a couple organizations that we give to regularly. One called Hope Sports and one called Identity Hoops International. What's fun about Hope Sports, they actually do home builds right across the border of San Diego and Tijuana, Mexico. So we bring a team. We try to do it every year, but COVID has shut it down the last couple of years. But this year we're getting back to it. So it's honestly a team building, life-changing experience where we go and build a home for a family that needs one.
Well, listen, when the new book comes out, that Ellen and I are doing for Kenny Kendrick, we're going to be hopefully going out to the Diamondbacks stadium there to do a book signing. We hope we can hook up with you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that'd be fun. All right. Yeah. Your website address?
pristineauction.com.
Great auction house, great auction site, guys. Get your bids in. Thanks so much, Jared. We love you. Thanks for the support.
You got it, guys.
Take
Anytime,
care.
no problem.
Jared Kavile.
Right, we'll see you.
Jared, just hang with us for a while. Before we depart, our giveaway, another copy of Harry Hooper by Paul Zing, a great book from the Staten Island Joe bag. Rico, you ready?
Well, I'm excited. I can't wait. Come on.
Yeah, I can see that. This week's winner is Nick. Oh, a nice Italian guy. Nick Mattiacci. Nick, I know you're a regular follower of the show. Here's the rules. You have 1 week to get in touch with us. Either IM us, you can email us, make a comment on the Facebook page, YouTube. You have 1 week. If we don't hear from you in a week, you're out. Fair enough?
Tough.
All right, Rico. Listen, welcome back. Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting back in the studio with you in a couple of weeks. I miss you. I want to have a cigar with you, shoot the breeze, see your beautiful wife, and get you to spring for dinner.
We feel the same way about you and Ellen. It's nice to be back, even though the weather's not as good as Florida, but, it's still, we see everybody, so it's good. Look forward to seeing you.
We love you guys. Chrissy, great job. David, great job. And to our viewers and our listeners, thank you so much for the support. The numbers have been off the charts. We're very, very thrilled with all the different platforms we're on. And that's it. So with that being said, happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.